So I think, I mean, this is about digital twins, the immune system, but I think more broadly, the theme is really how can we use computational models to affect the treatment of specific patients in health and in disease. That's really what we're here to do. And digital twins are a particular aspect of this. They are personalized in some way. There's any number of definitions that people use, and we'll probably run into different ones. And for different purposes, maybe different definitions are the appropriate ones. The concept comes from industry, of course. It's been phenomenally successful. There's a whole digital twin industry of many companies building digital twins for other companies. In the medical realm, this is sort of becoming a thing for the last 15 minutes, and it'll be a thing maybe for the next 15 minutes. But timing is important, so I think that's why we're here. And there are, of course, now there are companies that sell digital twins in the medical space. There's a number of examples. Now let me just draw a little picture of how I think all of this sort of goes together, the way I think about digital twins. I think the whole thing starts with medicine. Medicine and the clinic, maybe drug development. This is where a digital twin gets defined. What's the purpose of it? And that, in my mind, needs to be sort of the very first question that you would ask for a specific development of a specific product. And since we're focused on the immune system, and the reason that we chose the immune system is because it is involved in any number of important diseases, whether it is cancer, whether it is infectious diseases, autoimmune diseases. So I think if one were to make headway in incorporating parts of the immune system into personalized models, I think it would have a major impact. And so once you define this purpose of this digital twin, then you need to define and maybe reverse engineer what the appropriate immunology is that goes into it, or maybe more generally human biology. Right? And that will be determined sort of very closely by the purpose that you want to put this to. And I should say, ultimately, if you think of sort of building a medical digital twin industry, what you will need is a much broader sort of infrastructure that goes with it, rather than a bunch of one-off kind of things. There are many commonalities, no matter what the purpose is. So then once you're done with this, you need to encode this human biology in computational models. And then, sort of to complete this, you need to connect this to a particular patient, to the medicine. And this is a really important part, and this is, in many ways, what's special and particularly challenging in the difference between a model and a digital twin. Right? This connection here, and so once you have that, right, it's really this part that needs to be the foundational work for any application. And once you have that, then you can build your digital twin out of that. In my mind, in a lot of cases, this will maybe be done by a company, small company, a big company. This is the much more challenging part in some way. And for this to be successful, I think in my mind, what needs to happen is these three fields need to work together to make this happen. And of course, most of us are used to working in one field only or in two fields. Very few people work in all three, or very few people are parts of collaborations that involve all three. And that's what makes, I think, the digital twin aspect, if you think of it as really something that makes it into the clinic, that's really what's special about it. So here maybe that is where a company might might come in, whether it's a small startup company or whether it's Siemens or General Electric, whoever does these things. So let me just sort of pose a question that Virginia always asks me when I give her ideas for projects. She always says, well, why now? You know, what's the right time? And of course, that'll depend on what the purpose is. You know, what part of human biology you need, right? If you're looking to build a digital twin of an entire human, we will wait for many, many years. And I think none of us here will see the day when that happens. But for more specialized purposes, especially ones that you can select by saying, well, our understanding of immunology for this particular application is good enough that within the time frame of, say, 5 or 10 years, one can actually do something that's sufficient to serve this purpose, then one could make some progress. And you know, so I recently gave a presentation to a group of people where exactly was this question, like, don't we need first 20, 30, 40 years of progress in human biology before we can even think about it? Right? And in some cases, yes, in other cases, no. Another question from that same panel was, well, shouldn't industry be doing this, right? You know, there's any number of companies already that sell digital twins, so why do we need to fund a whole big basic research effort to make this happen? And that's also, I think, you know, a misunderstanding from the point of view of the bigger picture. And a third question that I frequently get is, well, what does it take to actually get clinicians to use this? Whether it's medical devices, whether it's decision support systems, you know, what do we need to do? And you know, sometimes when I see efforts like this, they don't start here. They start here or they start here. And then it's sort of unclear how it will end up over here. So to answer Virginia's question, I guess it depends, right? And hopefully at the end of these 2 days, we have a better sense of, you know, what particular areas or what particular examples of digital twins could one build that really are at a place where somebody, some agency, some Bill Gates or somebody could invest a significant amount of money and make that happen. What we try to do with this group here is to bring people together that have expertise in one or the other of these. And I think we've succeeded. We have physicians here, we have modelers here, and we have immunologists here. And so I hope that, you know, we will have an opportunity to really hash this out. And in part, that's why we've decided on this somewhat unconventional format, where you know, you have a little bit of time to talk about your work, but in the context of sort of looking forward. And that's primarily why we didn't give you the opportunity to present slides. Of course, the technology is here, there are screens here, there are projectors here, but I think it would defeat the purpose. So everybody has, you know, 15 minutes to describe their work and the ideas that come out of it. And then we have 25 minutes of Q&A and discussion. And all of this will be recorded. I asked everybody agreed. So James over here is sitting behind this tremendous mixing thing, sort of looks like a mini rock concert. And so there'll be a really high quality audio and video recording of this, which we will make available as I said, YouTube videos for each of you here. And the other thing I would like to do is write a report in the form of an article. I sent one around as an example. Nature Immunology published an article like that a little bit ago. There it was essentially the organizers wrote a report of what each individual person presented, more or less. I would ideally not want to do that. What I would like to do is really create a synthesis of everybody's ideas and have all of us be co-authors on this article. That's the idea. My ambitious plan is that with the help of a few other people in the next week or 10 days, I will provide a draft. I will send it to you. You do whatever edits, and you send it back to me, and hopefully by the end of March, we can submit this as a manuscript. Well, you know, it helps if you don't have much to do, much else. You can do these things. So that's where we're at. Any questions? Any comment? Yes.
I think it was a very good summary. I think the big problem is there, if you look on the physician side, that most of the data we generate in healthcare are not available. That's a big problem. And it would be like a nuclear power plant, which would not have digital information stored about the power plant, but to have really PDFs or handwritten lists like this. I think this is a big challenge. But on the other side, I see my colleagues, when I talk about digital twin, will never work in our clinic, because we still believe in handwritten notes and so on. And I think that's why I think it's up to us to show them what are really the advantages and what are the big problem is really we have to get agile data. And I think, but for this purpose, we have to get everyone in the healthcare sector on board. And that's not easy. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's an excellent point. And that's a point that needs to be made, but we also need things that are easy. Because otherwise, you know, you have a 20-year time frame. So, is that me? Sorry. But it's an important discussion. Data, it's sort of that's a key ingredient. You're absolutely right.
For example, we have an AI specialist in our university clinic. He's using histological specimen in different types of cancer from clinical studies to develop models and to show results there. But if we look in our clinical practice, so this approach is not used because the specimen are not available. You can only play around with clinical studies, and that's for me as a practical person, I think it will not succeed. If you have the ivory tower where you are there and you are developing very nice digital twins and very sophisticated research data, but if you then come to the bottom and there are no data available and what you have developed is not brought to practice, and that will not succeed. And I think that we have to bring forward that it's not staying all the time in the ivory tower of the digital twin, but really coming back to Earth.
Exactly right. I couldn't agree more. I forgot to mention, so when I was talking earlier about why now, there are, of course, a number of efforts going on now in Europe and elsewhere that build digital twins for different purposes and different foci. So I think what we do here can help all of these efforts and hopefully catalyze a few more along the way. So this is we're not pioneers here in some sense. Phil, you had
I wanted to say that perhaps the perspective should be of starting from the electronic health records, which is used in the hospital, and build from that, because if you have an Excel sheet, it could be stupid, the list of numbers, or it can have some formulas in it. Now, basically, a digital twin will be the use of these tools in a very intelligent way and connecting them. So maybe with T going to infinite, this will happen at a certain point. But starting from that point of view.
Great, thank you. So with that, let's start now. You probably noticed that I've not really published a schedule of this, and it's been a bit fluid for various reasons. But I think the people who are speaking today I've talked to, and Borna has graciously agreed to be the first one to get started. And since this is a completely undefined format, it's always a bit. I would be nervous for sure. And then I want to follow that with Stephen. So Stephen, I met Stephen when he was building essentially what I would consider a digital twin of Portland, Oregon. in just incredible detail, and for different purposes, which then turned into a population movement model, which had essentially an SIR model overlaid for various disease spread examples. And I thought, Stephen is an expert in doing this, and I know you've overcome lots and lots of problems in getting the right data and building this and running those humongous models that you had. And I think we can learn a lot from hearing, how you did this, what the challenges were, and in fact, it seems to me an obvious synergy between the models you have, and if we could now build digital twins of individuals that you can then put into the people that run around in your simulations, then, for example, if you had information about immune profiles of particular populations, you could make much better predictions and say in hospital usage or things of that sort. So that's Stephen, and then the rest of the morning will be rounded out by Gary. Gary has thought about digital twins a lot, and then Gary and who? Now I can't think of who the next person was. Well, mystery.
Today as well.
I'm not sure. I'll look it up. So with that, let me. So we're going to try to be really on time, and so I might need to interrupt people. So I apologize ahead of time for being rude.